What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today we will be discussing contracts again. It's an episode of Contract Talk. This one is more specific for my local Union 26 members and travelers coming to the area to work in our local 26 jurisdiction, which covers Northern Virginia, Southern Maryland, DC, and everything in between. All right. We're going to jump into the section 3.14 of Article 3, which is the referral procedure. Section 3.14 talks about the referral order exception. We left off covering Section 3.13 referral order. So grab your inside wireman agreement, turn to page 17. Right in the middle of the page, you will find Section 3.14. We're going to read from here. We're going to take momentary breaks to try to understand what we're reading. And then we're going to move forward into the next section and so on and so forth and learn about the contract that governs our work life and our procedure of how we go about making this money. Anywho, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, ring the notification bell so you never miss a video. Drop your comments, ask your questions, and share. All right, here we go. Section 3.14, referral order exception. The only exceptions which shall be allowed in this order of referral are as follows. A, when the employer states bona fide requirements for special skills and abilities in his request for applicants, the business manager shall refer the first applicant on the register possessing such skills and abilities. So if you're number 50 on the list, and their call comes in for high voltage splicing, and you have a certification for high voltage splicings, and no one else above you does, you are now number one for that job because you're the only one that fits the criteria. You're able to skip that referral procedure because of this. This is why it's in there. B is the second way that we can skip the procedure. The age ratio clause in the agreement calls for the employment of an additional employee or employees on the basis of age. Therefore, the business manager shall refer the first applicant on the register satisfying the applicable age requirements, provided, however, that all names in the higher priority groups, if any, shall first be exhausted before such overage reference can be made. This is just reaching down lower on the list to pull up somebody who meets the age requirement if no one on the higher end of the list meets the age requirement. Because we are required to have a age ratio. For every certain number of younger workers, you need to employ one over a certain age. That's your age ratios. Section 3.15, the Appeals Committee. You're going to love this. An Appeals Committee is hereby established, composed of one member appointed by the union, one member appointed by the employer and or the association as the case may be, and a public member appointed by both these members. So 3 members on the Appeals Committee. Now, what is the function of this Appeals Committee? Well, we find out in Section 3.16 what the function of this Appeals Committee is. It shall be the function of the Appeals Committee to consider any complaint of any employee or applicant for employment arising out of the administration of the local union of Sections 3.04 through 3.15 of this agreement. The Appeals Committee shall have the power to make a final and binding decision on any such complaint which shall be complied with by the local union. The Appeals Committee is authorized to issue procedural rules for the conduct of its business, but it is not authorized to add to, subtract from, or modify any of the provisions of this agreement, and its decision shall be in accord with this agreement. An applicant who is discharged for cause 2 times within a 12-month period shall be referred to the neutral member of the Appeals Committee for a determination as to the applicant's continued eligibility for referral. So if you get fired 2 times in 12 months for cause, your case gets referred to the neutral member of this committee. That neutral member of the appeals committee shall within 3 business days review the qualifications of the applicant and the reasons for the discharges. So it's like a little investigation is going to take place. The neutral member of the appeals committee may, in his or her sole discretion, require the applicant to obtain further training from the JATC, disqualify the applicant for referral for a period of 2 weeks or longer, depending on the seriousness of the conduct and or repetitive nature of the conduct. 3. Refer the applicant to an employee assistance program if available for evaluation and recommended action. Or 4. Restore the applicant to his or her appropriate place on the referral list. So this appeals committee, it seems to me, is to police the local union and to ensure that the local union is following the guidelines and living up to the sections of 3.04 through 3.15. What I find troubling is that the decisions of the appeals committee is binding on the local union, but it doesn't say anything here about the appeals committee hearing cases from members who might be complaining about section 3.03, which if you go back to 3.03, if you're following along, you're going to go back to page 13 and you look at 3.03, rejection of applicants. The employer shall have the right to reject any applicant for employment. Now I know that 303 is in there. It should not be in there. We should not have that as a part of our working contract. We all get referred to a job as qualified electricians, and we should have an opportunity to sink or swim at work just based on the fact that we get referred to that job, without the employer being able to say, oh, I don't like the cut of his jig and he needs to go back to the hall because I don't like the way that one looks, or I don't like the sound of that one's voice, or whatever. It's not right. So we have an appeals committee that polices us for making sure that we're referring non-union applicants or non-union members as applicants, folks that enjoy the benefits of our collective bargaining and our referral system and our contracts, but refuse to pay dues because they live in a right to work state. So they sit here and they enjoy the benefits of unionism without actually being members, and they get representation. And we have an appeals committee to make sure that we're representing those folks properly. And at the same time, we have in our book, we allowed a clause, a section here that gives the employer the right to just spin our brothers and sisters, send them right back to the hall when they're in need of a job. That doesn't sit well with me. I don't know how it sits with you guys, but it definitely doesn't sit well with me. Anyway, section 3.17, let's move on. Inspection of referral procedure. A representative of the employer or the association, as the case may be, designated to the union in writing, shall be permitted to inspect the referral procedure records at any time during normal business hours. Okay, so this is just saying that a representative of the employer, so a contractor's representative, as long as it's designated to the union in writing, can come in to the hall and inspect the referral procedure records at any time during normal business hours. Section 3.18, referral procedure posting. A copy of the referral procedure set forth in this agreement shall be posted on the bulletin board in the offices of the local union and in the offices of the employers who are parties to this agreement. Section 3.19 discusses transferring and hiring of apprentices. Apprentices shall be hired and transferred in accordance with the apprenticeship provisions of the agreement between the parties. That's just to let you know that apprentices do get transferred from company to company yearly. For the most part, it's yearly. Every year you switch companies, and this is allowing for that. Section 3.20, reverse layoff procedure. This is an important one. Reverse layoff procedure. When making reductions in the number of employees due to a lack of work, employers shall use the following procedures. A. Temporary employees go first. If any are employed, they shall be laid off first. Then employees in group 4 shall be laid off next, if any are employed in this group. Next to be laid off are employees in group 3, if any are employed in this group, then those in group 2, and then those in group 1. Letter B. Paragraph A will not apply as long as the special skills requirement as provided for in section 3.14a is required. So again, this is a part where you get to skip the procedure if you have these special certifications that are needed for that job. C. Supervisory employees covered by the terms of this agreement will be excluded from the layoff as long as they remain in a supervisory capacity. When they are reduced to the status of journeyman, they will be slotted in the appropriate group in paragraph A above. So just so we go back to how it's supposed to go, it's temporary employees, then group 4, group 3, group 2, group 1. In that order. If you have a special cert, you get to stay. And if you're a supervisor and you're going to stay a supervisor, you get to stay. And that's the end of Article 3. That's where we're going to stop the video. And we'll catch up with Article 4 the next time we meet and discuss the contract. And Article 4 is going to be very interesting because it is working conditions. You know what I mean? We're talking about hours, we're talking about all that good stuff. Anywho, thanks for joining. I hope you found this video informative. I hope you learned with me some things you may not have known before about your union. All right. I'm Eric. You're watching Union Minded. Remember, the fight is not left and right, it's up and down. It's going to take class solidarity to win always. Each one teach one. Get out there and reach one. And there could be no union without you and I front and center. Let's go. Peace.